in front of the camera.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. This is the Stani Army Verdict brought to you by your special guest today, hosting it, Hulkistan. And I'm joined by two special guests today, Umar and Rizwan.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Hope everyone is keeping well and safe.
So what a day it's been. We came here today hoping to level the series at 1-1. We were coming into it behind at 1-0 down. And what a day it's been. I think that we showed some promise going through from the first couple of sessions, but then the last session, Crawley just took the game completely away from us. What do you say to that, Umar?
To be honest, we started off well. Like you said, we started off well, but the defensive captaincy I don't think helped. Azhar, he just, as soon as somebody hits a boundary, he just spreads the field. Crawley was in his 90s. There was no pressure for him to get, a few dot balls and get him struggling to 100, but he just got there nice and easily. He went into T on 97, come out, drive, 3 runs, 100. So I don't think the captaincy. I think we bowled well up until T, and then after T they just capitulated. It was that session I think is going to go a long way to deciding the game.
Yeah, I mean, at 127 for 4, when Ollie Pope got out, Butler came in. He had a lot of pressure on him, and he picked up exactly where he left off in the first test, being a thorn in Pakistan side. As Crawley and Butler managed to put on a partnership of 205 of 51 overs. What did you make of Crawley's innings, Rizwan?
I mean, it was quite good. We looked at the second test match, and he played a decent game there. Obviously, that test match was short-lived, but he looks like a very good player. And hats off to him. He's got his century. Pakistan will need to get him out early on day 2 to have any chance in his test match. But at this moment in time, it's looking like an uphill battle. Right.
Yeah, I mean, what did you make at the start of the day with the 11? We've gone with an unchanged side from the second test going into this decider. What did you make of that? Did you think that we should have done some changes, Umar?
I've obviously been a big advocate of Shadab, but to be honest, I didn't think we'd change, especially with so little cricket being played in the last test. I thought I didn't expect any changes, and it was rightly so. But yeah, I still probably would have played Shadab, but obviously I wasn't expecting him to play. I expected the same side.
I mean, if you look at that first session, we ended that on 91 for 2 of 28 overs England did. But the first maiden over only came in the 25th over. So we struggled to create scoreboard pressure. If you don't have any maidens in the first 10, 15 overs, the batsmen don't have any pressure on them. And England were going along comfortably at 3.5 to 4 runs and over. Then at T, they made another 93 of 2 of 28 overs, and they ended on 184 for 4. We've actually had a question here, which was from Imi. What was better, Yasser set up for Ollie Pope or Naseem and Rizwan combo for Root? I'll go to you, Rizwan, for that.
Well, the ball that Naseem bowled to Root was quite exceptional. That for me was an excellent ball. So that especially tops it up for me. But yeah, I was saying that Yasser ball quite decent as well. But the catch by Rizwan, always ever relying behind. Quite a brilliant catch. That delivery was it could have got any good batsman. Obviously we know Root is a good batsman, but yeah, it was a pretty good ball.
Yeah, I think the thing there with Root was that he was well set. He'd been there for a while now, so he was seeing the ball really well. And for him to get out like that at the end, when the ball had been caught, he just looked back at the other batsman and he just looked out in shock. And then Nasser Hussain, I think, said in the commentary that Root had done everything correctly. He hadn't done anything technically wrong, but the ball was just too good for him. What did you make of that, Umar? That ball from one of our up and coming fast bowlers?
To be honest, it was good to see that he's got that in his locker. We knew he had it in his locker, but it was nice to see, especially to get their best batsman as well. He was unplayable. and a brilliant catch from Rizwan as well. Like his namesake said, it was he's ever reliant behind the stuff. So it was a brilliant delivery. Probably the highlight of the day for us. But it was a brilliant delivery from Naseem. We want to see a bit more of that tomorrow, I think.
Okay, just moving on to another question from the Dr. Chowdhury. Are people too quick to jump on Azhar? Naseem and Yasser were going for 4+ runs and over in the first spells, so quite rightly defensive fields were set. Now, I know we've talked about Azhar's captaincy quite a few times on here now, and I know there's been a lot of talk about this from all the Pakistan fans. What did you make of it today, Umar?
I understand where the question comes from, but going later on into the day, especially after tea, so 2 sessions, going into the 3rd session, I'd say it was 55-45 to England. They just edged it. So going into the last session, there's about 10-15 overs to go up to the new ball, and the whole field is spread out. Easy ones, easy twos. Josh Butler's dancing down the wicket, hitting Yasser Shah for 6. 2 sixes actually in the same over. Sometimes we have to contain, and that's why we spoke about it. I think it was just before the second test about Yasser Shah. He takes a lot of wickets, but he can't contain in these situations. So let's say he went for, I think it was about 25 overs, a couple of maidens, 2 for 109. Maybe in this situation, if it was 25 overs, 60 runs or 70 runs, and maybe 1 wicket, we probably would have been, they would have been about 260, 270 for 4 instead of 320, 330 for 4. So I think he does bring it on himself a little bit. Automatically, as soon as a couple of boundaries are hit, just spread the field. There's, like you said, there's no pressure for them.
What did you make of the decision to bring Yasser on so early? So how the wicket was, it was very windy. So the bowlers were obviously one was bowling into the breeze, and the other one was bowling with the wind. But what did you make of the decision to bring Yasser on so early? I think he came on around the 10th, 11th over.
Yeah, I just tuned in and he came on, but I think that paid off because we got a couple of wickets quickly. I think he got away with that. Plus, Yasser's used to bowling with the new ball. Even under misspot, he used to bowl with the new ball a lot. But then, obviously, if you look through the rest of the day, he's gonna have a long toil. Looks like he's gonna bowl 40 or 50 overs now. So, at the time, it paid off. But the rest of the day, his captaincy didn't help the team, and it didn't help himself in the criticism.
What do you see going forward then after this Test series, Rizwan? Do you think that Azhar Ali is going to keep the captaincy, or do you think there's going to be some serious discussions to be had?
To be honest, that's quite an interesting question. Obviously, there's been some critics on social media, and some of the decision making has a lot to be decided. He's under a lot of pressure at this moment in time, and yeah, I mean, you probably think, with Mr. Former captain, and then Yunus Khan in the rank, they probably would have given him some advice. But like almost in his test match so far, his decision making has a lot to decide so far. There was no pressure at all put on the England batsman. The easy singles, just let them settle in. And now, basically it's a 300 plus on the scorecard, and it's not looking good sign for the rest of the days.
No, I mean, I think one of the things I found surprising was when Crawley was in the 90s and Yasser Shah was bowling. I didn't see any sense of urgency from the fielders. We didn't crowd him with fielders when he was in the, I think, 96, 97, 98, and even when he was in 99, he wasn't crowded with the fielders. He could literally just tap it and run. Normally, you have either short leg, silly mid-off, just crowding him really, and that puts more pressure on him. I think Nasser Hussaino said on the commentary that when you're on 99, that's the most nervous that you actually are, because it's just going to take one more ball. What do you do? Do you block it? Do you play for a run? And yeah, we didn't put any pressure on him at all. So I was quite disappointed with that. Just moving on with that then, nicely, if you have a look at another question from Tariq. If you play 4 bowlers, 3 seam and 1 spin, then do you guys think Abbas should be in the lineup? Because for me, Abbas is great for 10 overs, but after that, for me, he isn't good enough. What do you guys think? Go to you, Rizwan, for that.
I mean, as we know, obviously, Abbas is quite an exceptional bowler. New ball. Now, I mean, as the day went on, he obviously got easier for batting. But take nothing away from the England batsmen, they played really well. I mean, I can show you, Abbas, with the all ball, he can, if you give him that confidence, obviously, he knows he's an exceptional bowler. He can go on and take those wickets that you need in his creative partnership. But you need sometimes you need your sort of best bowlers on there. That the times that you need to get. And obviously, Abbas is one of them.
Yeah, I mean, what do you make of that, Omar? Where you've got the pace from Shane Afridi, who I know you love, and you've got Naseem Shah as well. Then do you think that we still need someone like Abbas coming in? He only bowls at 80 miles an hour, but the movement he gets, the shape that he gets, I know that the commentators absolutely love him. They can't stop raving about him. What do you think about this question from Tariq?
To be honest, I don't agree. I think we need an Abbas in the team. We got 17-year-old and a 20-year-old who haven't even played 10 test matches between them. You've got Abbas who's played in England, who's been brilliant. He had a little bit of a bad tour when he was in Australia, but he was coming back from injury. I think he's been very good. He's got the control. Even a lot of batsmen post-day interviews they do, they always say how difficult it is to face Abbas and his movement and his pace. Sometimes, obviously, we're used to fast and, fast bowlers, 90, 95 miles an hour, but sometimes you need that in the attack. And to be honest, I think Abbas is the least of our problems, to be honest.
What do you make of Abbas though bowling with the older ball when the ball's 50, 60 overs old? Do you think he's still as effective with that? I mean, obviously you've got to think about the reverse swing comes into it, but I don't think the ball reversed that much today. What do you make of Abbas in that situation?
I think Wasim Akram after the first test, he said with the new ball they were okay. As they got a bit older, the control was okay, but when it got to like 60, 70 overs, we didn't reverse it. So I think that is I don't think that's one thing these bowlers lack is the reverse swing. But I think another thing is if it's not reversing, Abbas brings control. So even if he bowls like 5, 6, 7 overs spell, he won't go for more than like 20 or 15, 20. With Shaheen, when you come on with the new ball, straight away, 3 no balls, 2 boundaries. So obviously he's still young, inexperienced, but Abbas brings that control with Shaheen and Naseem's pace and bounce. So I think, like I said, I think Abbas is fine in this team. New ball, old ball, I think he brings that control. And like I said, I think he's the least of our problems at the minute.
Okay, let's go to another question here. We've got the Braze saying, Assalamu alaikum boys, looking good, no Man United shirts today. We're keeping it all about the cricket today.
That's always positive.
Okay, another question here we had from Omar, which said some very odd bowling changes at times. After tea, it should have been spinner from one end and a seamer from the other. What do you make of that, Omar?
To be honest, I thought because Shaheen and Yasir bowled before tea, I thought he was he would have gave him a break and started with Naseem and Abbas. But Yasir's going to bowl so many overs; he's going to have a break somewhere. So I don't think that was a bad. I don't think that was a bad decision. But it's when you get to that situation and the pressure's on, 2 set batsmen, the best mind gets scrambled. So I think that third session was a really bad session overall for us.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. That when you look at things in hindsight, you can see things that the captain's tried and it hasn't worked out well. But everything that the captain tries is never it's never going to come off every single time. But you can see the captain trying things. I mean, Rizwan, what did you make of the bowling changes throughout the day? Even.
I mean, to be honest with you, it's not the bowling changes. At times, they're quite good. Then you think so, well, we need a wicket, so the best bowler should be on at one end of the other end. I mean, it's not. It's at the end of the day, it's how they went about. The fourth wicket went down. After that, there's no pressure at all. So I wouldn't say it was much about the bowling changes. But then, you have to put some pressure on the batsman, stop the singles, make sure, the batsman on strike, maidens, it was that kind of strategy early, after the fourth wicket. They just let the game sort of drift away.
Yeah, I think that maidens, we mentioned at the start of this, that maidens was such a key thing. As the first maiden wasn't bowled until the 25th over. And, looking at Pakistan, about the bowling arsenal that we have, I don't think I've seen that before, really, from what I can remember. The 25th over, and they were going at 3.5 to 4 runs and over. I think that basically set the state of play for the day.
I think that was the rate throughout the day. 3.5, between 3.5 and 3.9. I think. I don't think it got to 4, but they were at a good pace all the way through, and obviously the fielding placement didn't help as well, did it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So Chaudhry Ahmad says it was like the first game where we get attacked and we crumble. Now, I think that just looking at that, we're going to be, England are 332 for 4, big score for a first day on what was a testing wicket at the, especially in that first session. Really, we saw the amount of plays and misses that happened. But going into tomorrow, where you're expecting England to be hitting close to 400, I mean, we only need to get 2 more wickets for into the tail, but you'd imagine they're going to get beyond 350. So that's why, and looking at Chaudhry's question, how do you think the batting is going to stand up to this? Do you think it's going to crumble, or do you think that we're going to stand up to the big score we're going to have to chase?
Well, Azhar and Asad are due a 50, so they can keep the place. So I think we might be okay. Well, it depends how much they get, because Crawley's going to want to probably look to get a double 100 and beyond, and Butler's going to look to get a big 100 as well. So it just depends what kind of Pakistan turns up tomorrow. If they turn up feeling sorry for themselves, and then England could get 500 and beyond, and then essentially you're almost at the game. But if Pakistan could turn up and maybe, get a few quick wickets, 410, 420, and then obviously bat well and try and get the same score, if not beyond, we've got a little bit of a game on. But I think a lot depends on which Pakistan turn up tomorrow. If it's Pakistan who wants to play and, get some quick wickets, then it could be interesting. But if they start how they finished today, then we could be in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, definitely agree with you on that. We've got another question here from Chaudhry Ahmed, which says, never put pressure on Crawley, allowed easy singles to save boundaries, even versus Yasser. What do you make of that, Rizwan?
Exactly. Obviously, you mentioned that one as well. They were allowing things to batsmen. Once you set, the boundaries will become. Yeah, I mean, that's it. There was just no pressure on the batsman at all after fourth wicket, and they just got back to business, and now the run rate up to nearly 4-0.
Yeah, I mean, just talking about Crawley, I just want to make a point. There was a great bit of analysis that Wasim Akram did towards the end of the day, where he said that Crawley is really tall. He's around 6'5". Now, the bounces that our pace bowlers bowled at him, they were not well directed. They were either too high or too wide. And Crawley is a kind of batsman that likes to pull the ball. So on a slow wicket, you have to direct the bouncer to around here. Wasim Akram was saying, around between the neck and to the top of the nose. If it's there, then Crawley's not going to be able to control the ball. So when he tries to play that pull shot, you've got a chance of a top edge. So if you have a square leg and a fine leg back, there's always a chance that Crawley, as I said, is going to top edge it on one of those well-directed bounces. If you can be consistent with the short pitch bowling, one of those bounces is going to fly off to square leg or fine leg. But we weren't able to do that. And I think we need to remember that Naseem Shah and Shane Afridi, as good as they are, they're still both very young. I know that we keep saying this, but we have to remember that they're still learning and they're getting better. They're not the finished article by any means. They've got the pace already. So with the more and more experience of bowling on different conditions, fast wickets, slow wickets, they're going to get better and better. And the future is definitely bright with both of them. What do you think of that, Omar?
Like you said, the 17-year-old and 20-year-old, like they're only going to learn. I just want to touch on one thing you said. I think it was before the second test, and we've seen a little bit of it from Naseem Shah where he feinted to throw the ball at Zach Crowley. I don't know if you saw that. A bit of aggression. And I thought with Bakar being the bowling coach, and he was like fierce fast bowler, always in your face. I think we do lack that. I think Naseem's got it a little bit, but I think Abbas and Shaheen, they're a bit too nice for fast bowlers. And sometimes when things aren't going your way, obviously don't go over the top, but you could ruffle the batsman's feathers a little bit. And but I think then again, like you said, it will come with experience as they play more games, face better batsmen, obviously learn the conditions more. They'll learn all that as well. But I think we do lack a little bit of aggression with our fast bowlers, especially with Shaheen and Abbas.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up watching cricket in the 90s with the great Wasim Akram and Waqar Yunus, who you just mentioned, Umar, and that level of aggression was just brilliant to see, because what people have to remember is there's a mental game being played out there. It's psychological as well. So if you can intimidate the batsman, albeit within the rules, then obviously that plays into your hands as well. Point. Another one from Tabriz here. One reason we're looking toothless after the 60th over, he doesn't mince his words, does he? Is we don't have a genuine reverse swing bowler in the team. Suhail Khan wouldn't have been a bad shout. Sohail and Shadabin for Fawad and Yasser. What do you make of that, Rizwan?
Well, I mean, okay, now let's see. Okay, so Sohail played the matches. So he done exceptionally well, and if I remember correctly, in the 2016 series against England, he performed really well. I mean, Naseem Shah, so very young. He's got that general pace. I mean, the thing is, we've got three. This is the last test match. Maybe if we had, the fourth one or the fifth one, then we could have had a place for Sahel. But I'm fine with the team now. As it's obviously 3 test matches, but if it was 4 test matches or 5 test matches, fair enough. Point about Shadib in
Sohail and Shadabin for Fawad and Yasser.
Shut up. Okay. I mean, Fawad, interesting. Right. Yes. This. I mean,
that enigma.
A lot of people probably wouldn't agree on Fawad's stance. Look, I mean, he's played his first or his second test match after many years, and we know he's a good player on flat pitches in Pakistan. But this is obviously it is England, and we have seen conditions here. So if he's testing fit, he does wonders. He scores runs. Fair enough, yeah. I mean, that's what you need. No, I would have stick with that. I wouldn't have Sahel or shut up. The team will probably fine. What they had today.
Yep. Okay, we just move on to another question that from Iwasim says, discuss the day 3 and day 4 on this dry pitch. Umar, what do you think the wicket's going to play up like?
I'm more worried about tomorrow. Never mind.
Well, we've got to remember that we are going to bat last on this as well.
I think I said it was. I think it was yesterday or this morning. As soon as it gets over 25, I'm getting worried if we're chasing more than 25. But it looks, I don't know if you caught it. Zach Crowley just done a interview after the game, and he said it will spin, but it won't literally go like in Asia. As soon as you bowl it, one goes there and one. He said it looks like it won't go that bad, but it will spin a little bit. And he said the ball will it'll keep a little bit low. The bounce will be up and down. So depending on how many they get and depending on how many we get, I don't know if that will matter that much from how things are going now. But we'll have to just wait and see.
We'll see what happens tomorrow then on that one. Just going back to another comment from Chaudhry Ahmed. So Rizwan, what do you guys think about our placement of keeper and slips? So I know in the previous test there was obviously talk about the slip cordon not being close enough, and I think there were a couple of catches that fell just short of them. What did you make of them today, Rizwan?
Yes, I mean the contest rightly mentioned the slip cordon a bit too far behind. You need to come up slightly a bit more. If they were starting it up, maybe one of those packets would have carried, and we maybe wouldn't be looking at England 4 wickets down. But yeah, I mean, Pakistan, it's strange because as you mentioned in the previous test matches, the troops will be far behind. And also England done it as well, I believe. So, it's kind of strange that it wasn't notified as of now. But yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, obviously, as the spins go past, the ball's going to be low. So the slips need to be up a bit more.
Yeah, I mean, just on that though, we've got to remember. I mean, I've been singing Rizwan's praises throughout this series. I think he played brilliantly. He's played brilliantly. He got that brilliant catch off from Naseem Shah's bowling today, but he was actually standing up to Mohammad Abbas, who's bowling at 80 miles an hour. You have to give him credit for that. I don't remember him making a single mistake on that today either. Did you guys see anything? What did you guys make of that?
I mean, Riz, he's quite an exceptional keeper. I mean, he just comes on leaps and bounds. We know what's the problem. We put behind the stumps, but Riz covered it in series. He's really good. My 9-16, we're really good job. So, I can't see why for his position. We know how good he about the test match. He batted really well.
Yep.
That determination. That's the kind of keeper that we're looking for. But yeah, he's top man.
Credit where it's due.
Absolutely.
Okay. So this is one that's been proposed by my brother, who said that what can be done in Test cricket to stop the toss being so crucial, as looks like to be the case in today's match with the rain forecast every day from day 3 onwards. So what do you think, Umar? Everyone's spoken about this in the past. Can anything be done to stop the toss being a key factor?
I think in county cricket, what they do is the home team. No, it's either or. I'm not sure. I think we'll have to ask Debbie to confirm. But I think the away team gets the choice of whether they bat first or bowl first. But I'm not totally against it, to be honest. I think it's 50-50 and it's pot luck. So I don't think we should change it. But I think in county cricket, the away side, they get to choose whether they want to bat or bowl first. I guess they could bring that to international cricket, but I'm not totally against it. So I think I'm probably the wrong person to ask here, unless you guys think differently.
Rizwan, do you have anything to that?
I mean, how the toss is now, just keep it like that. It's not worth changing it. It's been there for since obviously started. Yeah. Keep it out of it. It's not worth chopping changing around.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that they could possibly look at that I've heard spoken about in the past is offering the touring team the decision: do you want to bat a ball? So there is obviously something like that they can do, but I think that no matter what you do, it's always going to be playing a factor, and that brings into it for the World Test Championship. Should there be even points? If you win a game at home, I think you get 20. I think is it 20 points? If you win a game away, it's the same amount of points, 20. So it's an accepted fact. It's been accepted for years that winning away from home is a lot harder than winning at home. So shouldn't the Test Championship reflect that? The points reflect that. Unfortunately, it doesn't, but we have hope for the ICC if you're watching. We're just going to be.
My point in regards to Test Championship now. I mean, Pakistan. Obviously, we know things are not looking good, but tomorrow morning, we need those wickets early in the back. Get good itself, and to make sure they don't get 450 or close to 450, because that's going to be difficult. Now, Pakistan needs to stay this match and make sure we don't lose one, because I think we get 20 points to draw the match. Is that correct? Yeah. So every point matters. The boys need to go to the second day thinking, let's do this. Keep the hope up, and I mean, optimism. That's what it's.
As always. So we're coming towards the end of the show. I just want to finish off by looking at the England team. So the England 11. What did you make of this? So they only made one change. Curran missed out, and they brought Archer in to have more pace. What did you make of that, Omar?
I was surprised because Curran is normally something different in their side, left arm, and he's a better batsman than Archer as well. So I was to be honest, I was quite surprised. I thought dangerous Dom would get dropped, but no.
Is that is that because you're secretly hoping that Jack Leach makes his way into the team?
Well, we need to get him in somehow. He's been carrying drinks for three test matches, actually 6 test matches now. So
Yeah,
in somehow. But yeah, to be honest, I was surprised they dropped
Curran.
Because he offers that something different. He's not obviously express pace, but different angle, and he's good with the bat. So I was surprised at that. I didn't expect any other changes.
Yeah,
Obviously, you got Broad, Anderson, and then obviously Archer bowling at the same pace. So you see, like what we mentioned, Curran offered something different, so it's quite surprising.
At the toss, I think Ian Ward asked Joe Root, what is Jofra Archer's purpose in this match? What are you expecting him to do? And Joe Root said that we expect him to bowl in short, sharp bursts, because what they're expecting him to do is to come in at 90, 92, 93 miles an hour. Obviously, with this being quite a slow wicket, we'll see what happens. But and especially what I think the interview that he had at the first Test match, where he said that the Old Trafford wicket wasn't one to be bending your back on, and then we obviously saw what Naseem Shah did. So tomorrow, when we bat in the first session, hopeful. It'll be good to see what Jofra Archer does, if that's how he's used in short bursts, and we'll see how we can withstand that. So just to finish, then, we're very technical here. So, what did you make of the first session? Who do you think won the first session?
I'll go split, 50-50.
What do you think, Razan?
50-50, yes.
Okay, so the splits have it. So split there. So for the second session, who do you think won that? So before you answer, just to remind the viewers at home, in the first session it was 91 for 2 of 28, but the second session it was there was 93 of 2 taken off 28 overs again to end on 184 for 4. It's kind of similar to the first session. Who do you think won that one?
I'm going split.
Sorry, Rizwan?
Go on, what was first? Go
on. I'm going for split 50-50 again.
Okay.
Same again.
So I beg to differ on that one, and the reason is that I think when Ollie Pope got out at 127-4, England were kind of teetering, another wicket, another 1 or 2 wickets, and we would have been into the tail. But when Butler came in, him and Crawley started putting together a partnership that just set the tone for the rest of the day. So I think we were on top toward the start, but I've got to give that second session to England. So fortunately, guys, the host overrules you. So what about the last session? I think that's a foregone conclusion, isn't it?
Can we just
So that's the tower that's looking like at the moment. It was 3-1 to England, and I think when you look at the scorecard, 332 for 4, no one's going to be arguing with that. I think unfortunately, Pakistan did have their chances, but we weren't able to capitalize on them. And then I think some of the field settings just meant that we didn't put enough pressure on England, unfortunately. So it'll be interesting to see what happens tomorrow. Now, as you mentioned that we'll be coming in. We're gonna have a night's rest. Come in tomorrow. We've got a brilliant coaching staff as well with Misbah, Mushi, Yunus Khan, Waqar Yunus. So there's going to be a wealth of knowledge there. So it'll be interesting to see is Azhar going to make any changes going into the team. So going into the second day. So what are your predictions for tomorrow and for the rest of this Test match? I'm going to come to you first, Razwan.
Predictions, right? Well, as much as optimistic I want to be, it's not looking good. My prediction will be Pakistan will come back second day. First hour will be crucial. I reckon we'll take 1 wicket in the first hour, and then England will till lunch. And after lunch, Pakistan will hopefully go through the rest of the tail. Obviously, England have a long tail on that. After this is Wilkes, and after Wilkes it's a long tail. So I'm looking for 450, 450 to get England out to 450. And then we need to put the run to the ball.
So are you saying that it's Rizwan, do you think it's going to be a Pakistan win, England win, or a draw?
Oh, overall, God, put me on the spot there. Being a Pakistan fan, you know.
That's what you get paid the big bucks for, Rizwan.
Right. I mean, I'm going to say it depends on Pakistan, the way they bat on first innings. If we bat well, we score in the region of 400 or 450. But bearing in mind that pitch is going to be like up and down, so we don't know how the pitch will play when we bat first up on that pitch. See, after England have finished it, but I'm going for a draw in this match.
Draw. Okay. Omar, same question to you. How do you think tomorrow's going to pan out, and what's your overall prediction?
I think, like I said earlier, depends which Pakistan turn up tomorrow. If they turn up, they're tired and feeling sorry for themselves, then it could be a long day where England potentially bat 2 sessions and then put Pakistan in for the last session, and it doesn't end that well. But what we still have to remember, the ball is fairly new. It's only 10 overs old. So, and another thing with England is they're prone to a collapse, just as Pakistan are. So if we can pick up a few early wickets, like Riz said, the first hour will be crucial. At the moment, it doesn't look too good. I'd say 70-30 England win, but this still, as being a Pakistan fan, there's always a chance. There's always a little chance we can turn it around. So first hour will be crucial. Hopefully we can pick up the 2 set batsmen early, and we could even hope for under 400 score. But if we don't, then it's not looking too bright. But inshallah.
What's your overall prediction then, Omar?
Right now, it's going to be an England win, but hopefully it'll change by tomorrow.
Okay, so my prediction for tomorrow is that, as you mentioned, the ball is only 10 overs old. So I think we'll get through another couple of wickets, and then obviously the England tail is going to collapse. So I think they're going to be out for 386, and we're going to come into bat. We'll get 300 plus, so it'll be sort of almost even, and then we'll go on to win the Test match.
I hope you're right.
Inshallah. It's a well thought idea. So, guys, Omar, Razwan, I just want to say thank you very much for joining us today and giving us your analysis of the day's play.
Always my pleasure.
Your details are on the bottom for anyone who wants to get in touch with you. And I'd like to say it's been a pleasure hosting the Stani Army Verdict for today. Thank you to Imi for allowing me to do this. Tomorrow he will be back as your regular host. And tune in then for what will be, hopefully, a much happier show.
Assalamu alaikum.
Mahtan's in the bar. Wa alaikum assalam, everyone. Thank you.